I do think this is just a coincidence, but recently I've been getting asked a lot, what are your goals as an author? What do you want to do? What are you working on? Questions like that. Not just from my friends, but from my parents too. There's nothing quite like a good in-stream of questions like that to make you really think about it. I thought this would be a good thing to share because ultimately author goals are all completely different. They're very, very personal. For me, I think it boils down to three things. We've got long-term, short-term, and then ultimate / sort of personal goals. I was talking to one of my friends the other day about my writing and something along the lines of don't worry you'll get your fame, or don't worry you'll get your recognition. Something along the lines of that came up, and the first thought that popped into my head was just, I don't want that right now. And that's because in the short term, at the moment, my goal is to keep writing as an outlet, to keep content creation and writing and editing and all of that as a little escape from all my uni work. Now, if you didn't know, I'm currently a second year uni student and I study computer science, so my writing and all of that is very, very different to the content I study. And yes, that has its drawbacks. I think I mentioned it in a previous video. However, I really, really need it to keep myself sane. So at the moment, all I'm working on is my 2 first draft projects and also my main project, which is currently in, I think, the 3rd round of edits, maybe 3rd or 4th round of edits. I work on them when I have time. I definitely prioritize the one that's in the editing stage, but the other ones, even if it's just 100 words a day, I really like to keep it up because 100 words, maybe even just 10 minutes of my time, it means I get this little escape, a little outlet to another world, so I don't have to think about all of my uni work for just 10 minutes. And I won't go on about all the uni work I have to do right now because no one wants to hear it, but it is an awful lot right now and it's just a massive burden and I just need that escape. However, in the long term, I'm going to be completely open and honest here. Yes, I'd love to be an author as my full-time job. I want writing and content creation to be my career. You're probably wondering, why on earth are you taking a computer science degree when you could be taking creative writing, English literature, something like that? Well, ultimately being an author has been the dream since I was young. You know, I was writing little stories and stuff since the age of since I can remember. However, I found when I got to sort of GCSE A-level time, that's kind of high school for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I found that doing creative subjects really took all the joy out of them for me. So the best thing I could do was take completely STEM subjects. Also because, not to brag, but I am good at them. That sounds so bad. So as an example, I started off taking art at GCSE and immediately dropped it and changed to something else because it just completely ruined all of the fun I used to find in doing art. And then similarly, when I got to A-level, I dropped English and instead took maths, further maths, physics and computer science, and now here I am doing computer science at uni. The thing about being an author is there's no one route to it. As an example, if I wanted to be a software engineer, which, you know, may end up being my first sort of job, I would take my computer science degree and then go into that sort of field. It's a very direct route, very sort of common path where everyone takes the same sort of path, if that makes sense. However, especially nowadays, being an author doesn't just happen like that. You can be doing other things. You can be doing your software engineering job and still become an author. People pick up agents through Twitter, through TikTok. It's not just one route nowadays. So ultimately, even if I'm studying computer science right now and I'm on what seems to be a completely different track right now, the final goal is to be an author. Obviously, I'm starting now. I started at 18 when I published my book. I started, you know, at 16 or whatever when I started content creation. I want to make a living out of it, yes, but I want to make a difference. You see so many videos nowadays of authors going into a bookstore, for example, and seeing their book, they get to pick up and sign it, or they're going on book tours, they're doing book signings, and I look at them and I think, I want to do that. That needs to be me. When I have a lot of free time and I end up doing a lot of writing, I really get into it. Let's say I've done like a 5k word marathon, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to do this. It's a living. This is what I was put on the earth to do. I want people to read my work and say it was their favorite book ever. I want people to be influenced by my books. And this really leads me on to my final subsection of this video, which is my own personal goal, sort of the ultimate goal. And yes, this is separate from my long-term goals because even if my long-term goal of being an author doesn't work out, I can still accomplish this, and that is I want to write a piece of fiction, probably literary fiction, that's really real. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense, let me explain. Basically, the pieces of media that I resonate with the most at the moment are If We Were Villains, The Dead Poets Society, The Secret History, Little Women, even Barbie. Things that have a deeper meaning, they have really real themes, and people can really see themselves in the characters and really empathize with the characters, and it really makes you feel something. I want to write a piece of fiction like that. At the moment, I definitely write a lot of fantasy and mystery because I think ultimately that is what I'm best at. However, when my writing style has grown and matured, I do think it's something I could do, and it's something I really want to do. I really want a piece of fiction that people can really resonate with, because those pieces of fiction and media are what mean the most to me right now. And even if I write it when I'm 40, 50 years old, I'll think back to this time when I'm a teenager and know that somewhere out there a teenager's reading that and they really feel what the characters are feeling, and it really means a lot to them. Why am I on the verge of tears just thinking about this? Anyway, to end this on a bit more of a positive note, another more personal goal is that I'd like to just be a bit of a figurehead for people who started off in STEM and ended up in creative roles. Or to put it better, people who ultimately had a creative goal in mind but have gone the more traditional route along the way. There always seems to be so much segregation between STEM and the arts. Why is that? Why are we constantly splitting it down the middle and separating them? There can be an overlap. In fact, there is an overlap. You know, my final year project / dissertation, I want to do it on either differentiating genres by using AI or what's the word? Identifying the authors of pieces of fiction by using AI. There's always an overlap, but I think people try very much to keep the segregation, and I want to be one of the people to acknowledge that there doesn't have to be. We can coexist, people. I know this was a bit of a shorter video, but I just wanted to put this out there. I thought it would be a nice little fun change. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.